Hi everyone, tonight's the night. It's the one I've certainly been waiting for a long time. It's the launch party for 101 Author Tips Creating a Successful Book Campaign. Thank you all so much for your support. Come on in and join the party.
So welcome to Book Review tonight. Tonight we are very pleased to have with us publishing expert PJ Campbell. She is here to talk to us about her new book, 101 Author Tips, Creating a Successful Book Campaign. If you are an author, this is the best little guide you are going to find that will tell you what to do with your book that you finally got published. As an author events coordinator, I can tell you, I give out a lot of advice to new authors about how to promote their book and what this whole crazy book business is about. And now I can save my breath and just hand them PJ's book. PJ's knowledge comes from insider experience. She's the director of events for one of the country's largest publishers and has spent more than 15 years creating successful book campaigns and coordinating and publicizing author events. She also knows what it's like to be on the front lines of book selling, like us here at Book Review, having previously been a general manager at a bookstore. She's also one of the friendliest ladies you're ever going to meet. She's been an absolute pleasure to work with to put this event together. I wish they could all be like PJ, I'm going to be honest. It is an even greater pleasure to now welcome her to our humble podium here. So let's do just that. Ladies and gentlemen, PJ Campbell.
Well, thank you, Julianne, and thank you to the Book Review for having me here tonight, and thank all of you for choosing to spend time with me in the celebration of 101 Author Tips, Creating a Successful Book Campaign. We're going to talk a little bit about several different aspects about what the book is about, but before we start off by doing that, I'd like to get to know who's in the audience tonight, if you don't mind. So I'd like to start by asking just a few questions. I'm curious if there are any writers. Is it not on? Oh, okay. Can you hear me okay? It's good? Okay. Are there any writers in the audience tonight? Wow, quite a few. Terrific, okay. How about artists or entrepreneurs? Fantastic, okay, great. So just talking for the moment about the writing aspect, is there anyone here that has been published by a traditional publisher or self-published? All right, great. So to follow up on that question, I'm kind of curious if anyone who has been published or in the artistic field or an entrepreneur, have you been satisfied with the success that you've experienced so far in selling your book or promoting your art or whatever it is that you do as an entrepreneur? Are you satisfied with your success? Could you use some help? Yes. Maybe a little bit? Okay, great. Well, hopefully we'll be able to give you a few tips that'll help you out. That really helps me get to know you a little bit better. I really appreciate that. And one of the things that you're going to hear throughout the next few minutes is about building rapport and relationships with people. And while it's nothing new, it is how businesses are really conducting themselves today and building their own businesses. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I've told a few people, but in case you haven't heard it, when I'm finished speaking, I'm going to invite everyone to pass out their business cards or brochures or make any kind of announcements about what it is that you do. So if you are a writer and you'd like for other people to know about your book, you're going to have an opportunity to tell them about that. If you're a doctor or an artist, whatever your field is that you would like to have support, this is the place to offer your business cards or your brochures or to make an announcement. So we will definitely be doing that. So just to give you a little bit more background than what Julianne gave you, as she said, I've been in the business for about 15 years. And actually that started because I went through some real life-altering events that kind of forced me to take a look at my life and decide what I wanted to do with it. And as in other aspects of my life, I have gone to a local astrologer. His name is Bob Cook. He lives in, you too? He's the best. And he's right here in Cold Spring Harbor. He's just one of those unique people that you happen upon in your life, hopefully. And anyway, I went to Bob about 15 years ago, and he knew everything that was going on in my life. Of course, he was telling me about what was going on in my life as it was happening. But at any rate, I went to him for his help to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. So what was I going to do with the next chapter of my life? And through having discussions with him and him looking at my chart, we realized that probably the best thing for me to do at this point in time was to pursue writing. But just because I want to be a writer doesn't really make it so. It's like when you're an artist or an entrepreneur, you hang out your shingle. Well, what happens? How do you get people to come and be interested in whatever it is that you're doing? So I took a look at some of the career opportunities that were available as a writer or to be around writers, and also knowing the kind of personality I have, which is pretty atypical, I had to figure out first how you could be a success. If I was going to do something, I also wanted to know how I could succeed at it. It was kind of like putting what is that saying, the cart before the horse. So with that thought in mind, my first step was to figure out what it took to be a success from the book selling side of things. And I took an events manager position and general merchandise manager position at a local independent bookstore in Oyster Bay called the Bookmark Cafe. And unfortunately, it's no longer there today. I'm very grateful to have had the experience that I've had there. But it's not there, as many independent bookstores have gone by the wayside. Thank goodness the Book Review is still here and thriving, mainly for efforts like Julianne and the owners, Robert and Richard Klein. They're incredible. But anyway, it gave me an opportunity to work with writers who were celebrities, unknowns, and writers who were not yet published. It offered experience wearing the hats that every bookstore retailer wears, being a buyer or a publicist, a marketer, an advertising manager, publishing liaison, and author handler. And along with the owner, Daria Lamb, we created the Long Island Children's Book Fair. It was actually the first children's book fair on Long Island. And over a 2-day period, we attracted over 7,000 people. We had 29 authors, and we raised over $30,000, of which we gave a percentage to Literacy Volunteers of America. Now, partnering with LVA was one of the first things that we did in creating that support and that marketing machine. But we also sent postcards to our customer base. We posted signs in our store. We invited local children-centric merchants to have a booth at the event. And all of the things that we did basically helped support the success of the event. But when I started thinking about this today, I wonder how similar our marketing and PR would be if we did that today, and yet how different it might be. So about 1.5 years into that position at the bookstore, I kind of had a good idea about what it would take for an author to succeed from the retail side of things. And I was ready to investigate what it might take for an author to be a success within a publishing house. So I took the events manager position at Wiley, which is a $2 billion nonfiction global publishing house that ranks about number 5 on the grid of publishers. And back then, in 1998, publicists were doing 2 functions. They were booking media, which is television interviews, radio, magazines, newspaper, and they were also booking authors and events like this. Wiley was the first publisher to actually recognize the need to separate those 2 functions, and the events department commenced with my hire and creating 225 events that first year to the present, which is a little bit over 11 years ago. With us now, I'm the global director of events for Wiley, and I support and orchestrate over 2,500 global events. We book our authors and executives in bookstores, libraries, museums, conventions, organizations, conferences, expos, book launch parties like this one tonight, press parties, magazine events, and now virtual events, which I'm sure you're aware of with webinars, teleseminars, podcasts, and webcam events. The actual event venue list is endless.